Good morning, everybody. I'm Francesco, and I believe in games. That's why I'm here. I do believe in video games. We have been listening all the morning talking about media, because that's what we are talking about today, and I didn't hear one single time the word video game, not even the word game. Do not forget video game. I do believe video games are part of the innovation we need if we want to give really full access to information, the power of the way we deliver this information to achieve sustainable development. That's why I founded Video Game Without Borders, a non-profit organization, and I was previously working at Ubisoft. In fact, I've been creating games for 15 years to entertain people. I spent 15 years creating games to entertain people, while now I create games to help people. And video games can help in many different ways. I believe games can help in many ways. First of all, improving people's lives. Let's take an example. A research lab in Madrid, they're using a game, in fact, to fight against malaria. You know malaria, it's a parasite in the blood, and the way to detect it is having a technician at the microscope counting the number of the parasites you have in the blood sample. So it's a simple enough task that can be transformed into a game, and that's what they did. The people you see there, that's ants, are kids playing a game called Malaria Spot, and what you do is really pointing at parasites in the blood. They are not professional, but they proved that it's enough to merge the data of 20 players to reach the same level of precision than one technician at the microscope. So right now, what they are doing, they are trying to produce a cheap microscope that you use your mobile phone to take the picture of your blood sample, send it over the internet, distribute it to players. The players will play, and you get back the result, your diagnosis, after a few minutes. On our side, we are participating to EDU Up for Syria. We all know about the war in Syria and the consequences of war. One of the bad ones for the kids is also the lack of access to education. The schools are closed, have been closed for more than 5 years. That's why NORAD and several partners organized an international call for innovation. Again, we talk about innovation. And the idea is to develop, in fact, a game to teach literacy, to bring literacy to Syrian kids through a game, and simply taking advantage that most of the Syrian families do have a smartphone. So they are taking the smartphone with them. So the contest is in progress. They have been selected 3 finalists, and they are being produced. They are being financed now to produce the full game. We are happy to be among the 3 finalists in collaboration with a German university, the Cologne Game Lab, and a Lebanese studio, Wixel Studio. We are looking forward because in few months, these games, 2 of them, in fact, will be selected and will be financed to be distributed among Syrian families. So Syrian kids will be able to learn how to read and write in Arabic simply by playing on their parents' phone. But video games can help in other ways as well. I believe video games can help on the financial side. Let's travel back in time. Farmville. Many of you have heard of it because they received the invitation in Facebook. Well, this is exactly that game. It was one of the most popular games at the time. We're talking about January 2010, when a major earthquake hit Haiti. A few weeks before, that company, Zynga, the company who did this game, made an innovative and original campaign, in-game campaign, to raise funds to build a school in Haiti. And then when the earthquake arrived, they were able to run a campaign in-game, and they were able to raise more than $5 million in a few weeks, simply by selling one special item inside the game. And the good part is that they realized after that it was good for their players. It was good for their game. The engagement of their players, it got improved because of that campaign. On our side, Video Game Without Borders, we are starting a project with, it's called One World, a Million Stories. It's a collection of tales from all around the world, especially from developing countries. The goal is to be able to tell stories from their culture, working together with them in an interactive format, and then sell it worldwide to raise funds to finance NGOs back in their country. And what we, last year I spent 6 months in Africa, in Burkina Faso, to do the first tale, the one you see in the picture before. And that's also part of what we talk when we talk about free access to information. Part of our goal is to empower local people to do their own content, to create the digital content, to create their interactive content. Because video games are one of the media we need to be free to let everybody contribute in a pluralistic way. I believe video games is a powerful media and can also be used to raise awareness. This game, called Papers, Please, it's a good example. It was done by one guy with a lot of experience. He made a game that where you put you in the shoes of an immigration officer. I mean, people are queuing at the border, and you decide, you have the power to decide who can cross the border, who cannot. And you can inspect their documents, you can inspect them and their belongings, and then you decide. And only after you have taken the decision, you discover if you did it right or wrong, and the consequences of your decision. Not only it won several awards, but it was a commercial success, meaning that we can make games with a powerful message competing on the market. We can compete on the market with these kind of games. On our side, we are kicking off these weeks a collaboration with the French Red Cross and the Dutch University and HTV to create a game about war, but it's a different kind of war game. This time you are not a soldier. This time you are a photojournalist. You are in a warfare, and your goal is to document what's happening there, especially the violation of IHL. It's an ambitious project, and we hope to hear more about that in the coming month. So, I believe games can help in many ways. Let's recap. Mainly in 3 areas. 1, directly improving lives. We made an example about health and education, but there can be more. Fundraising. Do not forget games. We can use games to raise funds. And raising awareness. It's a powerful media. Let's use it to have an impact on public opinion. We believe in games. I believe in games, but there are a lot of challenges still we have to face. Number 1, quality. It's easy to talk about games, but it's not easy to make a quality game. Making a good game is what makes the difference. We need games that are appealing and engaging for the players. We need games that are designed specifically for the audience and the problem we want to address. And then we need to execute them very well. That's a challenge. That's why we need the professional game developers working hand in hand with NGOs and experts in the field. Second challenge is distribution. I mean, it's not the same to make a game to raise awareness in Europe or to bring literacy to Syrian kids. There's a good example about that was done by an American NGO called Games for Change. They developed a game to talk about the 9-month pregnancy period, because a lot of girls in Kenya and India did not know anything about that. So when they were waiting for a child, they were not knowing anything about what was going to happen. And they raised the funds, and then they made a game on the phones, but the old GSM phone, because that was the way to get there. And they called the game 9 minutes, because each minute was 1 month of the pregnancy. And then, for sure, we need to look for funding. I mean, making games is not cheap. Making games can be very expensive, especially quality games. Talking again about the EDU Up for Syria contest, I mean, the overall budget, for reference, it's $1.7 million. So it takes money. And it's good to have grants, it's good to have competition, but we must be ready to compete on the market as well. And how can we face all these challenges? Well, it's partnership, working hand in hand, establishing win-win collaboration with academic institutions, with game companies, and with NGOs and agencies. So I believe in games, but I'm not alone. In fact, we are a community, we are a global community, we are a growing community, and in fact, it's more correct to say, we believe in games, and I hope you as well. Will you? Thank you.